My brain is not functioning today, guys. Oh, okay. He just quit. Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's adakai TCG here, and I'm coming at you with another deck profile video. This is going to be for PLuffy, and it's going to be the 8.5 update. And as many of you know already, I've been on PLuffy since, I started playing him again at the middle half of set 8, before 8.5. I was taking him to locals and topping with him, and I saw like just how good of a matchup he had, even into some of like the boogeyman decks like BY Luffy, Lucci, and Starter 14 Luffy. And so those are definitely winnable matchups for PLuffy. You needed to see your pieces, but it definitely could. You had a fighting chance each time, and so yeah, I really did like the leader. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play in any regionals over the last month due to one personal, I guess, obligations that I had. Pretty much every weekend for myself was booked with some sort of personal or family obligation. And yeah, I didn't get to make it out to any store regionals, or I didn't get into them. And so it was kind of a shame. I never got to actually compete on a higher level with the deck, but from all my testing, it seemed really strong. And then I saw it topping a couple events, and so that was really cool to see too. Kudos to those guys. So quick caveat, this is just a day one foundation list. The numbers and card pool may change as the meta shapes out, and as I'm like, oh, okay, actually I need to take this out to deal and add this card in to deal with what's currently meta. But this is kind of just like my baseline starting point, and so I wanted to share that with you and let you guys know that this is not the fully refined list, but something that I'll be working on. It'll be iterative, and anytime I make some good amount of changes, I will either post it as a new video or on Twitter or on Instagram. And so make sure to follow on those socials as well. I have it linked both on the overlay, and it'll be in the description below. And so let's go ahead and talk about the leader. This is a custom one that I did, but it's a 5-life leader, mono purple, 5k power, strike attribute like all Luffy cards. And he has a leader ability that reads activate main. Once per turn, you may add one card from the top of your life cards to your hand. If you have 0 or 3 or more Dawn cards on your field, add up to 1 Dawn card from your deck as active and set it as active. And so basically he takes his own life to ramp a card, and so you both get the benefit of increasing your hand size and yeah, seeing more cards in your deck, right? And so that's always an added benefit. And you get the added benefit of ramping up an active Dawn, meaning you can start to play things a little bit with a higher cost than your opponent can. And so really good ability. It gets a little tricky though, knowing when to take hits, when to counter out of hits, how many times you're going to want to use leader ability during a game. And so, and there's a lot of Dawn minusing effects in purple, and so kind of balancing that, when to start playing those cards, when to start taking more life, can you die, things of that nature. And so I think that's where a lot of the skill expression will come in this deck. And so the more you practice it, the more scenarios you face, the obviously more reward you'll have for understanding what to do in those scenarios. So as you can see, there's still quite a few cards that we will be running from our previous iteration. We're going to talk about the older cards first, then we'll move on to the newer cards. So I'm still running 2 copies of Bone Clay. Really good card for going first. Because on your turn 2, you'll be at 3 Dawn. You leader ability to go to 4. You play Bone Clay to go to 5. And now you have an active Dawn you can attach to your leader and swing for 6. And so you basically ramp 1 full turn's worth of Dawn, right? Because you're ramping twice. And so really, really good card if you're going first. And he's great into the BY Luffy matchup, just to have even later on in the game. And even just like the other matchups that have any big bodies, right? He can mimic the power of one of your opponent's characters. And So double value, right? He ramps you, and he can be a big swing in the mid to late game. So we're running it at a 2 of right now because some of the ratios in this deck are a little awkward because I want to run 4 of a lot of the Straw Hats. So we'll see how 2 feels. So far in all my testing, I see it enough. And if not, it always has a 1k counter, and I can always just counter with it. It's pretty easy to decide when you don't need this card. And so, yeah. We are running 4 copies of Magellan. I know a lot of lists drop this, but even with the added searchers, I kind of like to have the option of having 2 play lines in the deck where one, it's like you play the Magellans earlier on and then you save your Straw Hat package and Engine Flood for like the mid to late game. Otherwise, like, yeah, seeing him late does suck. And there's no way we can search him right now. I mean, there is a way, but we don't want to run the searchers. But he's just so value, though, right? And across so many matchups. And so I do want to still try to make him work. But this is actually one of the cards that I'll probably end up dropping if I don't see myself getting enough value out of it, right? Because it does get a little awkward, right? If you have the Magellan and the Zoros and Luffy Taros in hand, because they're kind of conflicting ideologies, right? But the way I'm kind of viewing it is you make those same decision points when you're playing OP8.5, where do you want to flood board or do you want to play this tempo Dawn game? And so I kind of wanted to leave myself that option, at least in the interim, and see how that pans out. But again, this card is a hard yellow maybe. Like, if green means like auto include and red means like get this card out of my deck, this is like sitting on the yellow, but we'll see. I need a lot more testing. So far in the test games that I've played, I actually really like this card, but it might just be because I'm still geared and thinking in the old PLuffy mindset. But again, yeah, we'll see. We're gonna skip over to Kaido. So we're still running 3 copies of Kaido. I know a lot of decks are running the 10-drop Luffy, the one that basically minuses 10 Dawn and gives you another turn. Man, I just, that card seems a little more situational than the Kaido. Kaido being able to remove a 6 or less and gain rush and not minus you all the way down to 0. Just overall feels a little bit more versatile, and so I'm still running him as my boss monster. In 09, we get the new Luffy, which I'll definitely be running that instead, and so because you can search him. But for now, we're keeping this Kaido at 3. We dropped the Lin right now, but I may end up dropping some Magellans. If I get rid of the Magellan package, the 9-drop Lin is actually a card that I'm really thinking about, and so it does seem to have more value in a deck like Purple Luffy, where you're kind of taking your own life kind of liberally. And so, yeah, for now, 3 of seems okay. I only really need to see 1 a game, at most 2, and so that kind of feels nice. 4 of Queen. I think Queen is still just really, really good. A lot of times you need to just see some more cards in this deck, and so being able to have a 5-cost 6k body and basically draw 2 cards, discard 1, you filter your hand and start seeing more of the pieces that we want to combo off of. And so a very good card. I don't think I'll drop this down from 4 of. I think this will still remain a staple. And I think, oh yeah, this is, I guess, Law. We are still running 3 copies of Law. There's still many decks that just hoard really big hand sizes. And so having the option to trash 2 from their hand will just help you out-tempo them both in your Dawn ramping as well as card advantage, right? And so this deck is a deck that can continue to draw pretty well with some of the newer cards, and so we're going to talk about that now. Going on to the starters, and this is the Straw Hat package. So those were the non-Straw Hat cards, and now I guess there's one more non-Straw Hat card, which is the when you're at sea, but we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Let's go to the Straw Hat package. So first, we're running 4 copies of Zoro Juro. This card is so good. It's a 4-cost 6k stat line, which is like a vanilla stat line, but it also searches you a Straw Hat type pirate, looking at the top 5 cards, adding it to your hand, and placing the rest in the bottom of your deck in any order. So this Zoro is searching you your Jinbeis, your Frankies, your Sanji, your Usohachi, your Onami, your Sangoro, your Luffy Taro, and your Gum Gum Jet Gatling. And so you're searching like 12 different 2Ks if you need it, 6 different blockers, your mid-range like attackers, and an event, right? And so very, very good because of how many targets that we have, and it's really, really strong in the stat line. Then you have your 4 copies of Sangoro. This is the 5 cost 6k body, 1k counter, and when attacking once per turn, if you have 8 or more Dawn, draw 1 card. And so, broken ability. You just have to have 8 or more Dawn, and this will just draw you an extra card. And so, in a deck that we're playing, where we just have so many 2Ks, as well as a lot of dead cards too, it's really important to keep drawing, right? And so, just having this, being able to do that is great. But what's even greater than that is this Luffy Taro. He's a 7 cost 8k body, no counter, but on play you can Dawn -1. Play up to 1 purple Straw Hat character with a cost of 5 or less from your hand. And so this guy is playing out everyone except the Sanji, but actually he can play out the Sanji too. If your opponent's at 10 Dawn and you Dawn minus earlier, you can Dawn minus again and then play this guy because he costs 3 now, right? And so very cool combos you can run. He can play out so many different cards, but ideally you want to play him out with like the Zoro or Sangoro because you just get so much value off of that. And so, but yeah, to note is you can even play out the Jinbei blocker, right? Because this is Straw Hat type. And so that's why we're running 3 of, right? In case we need to establish 2 bodies, but we want 1 blocker, which previously, like, that would have to be done with, like, Kid, Blocker, and Queen. But now we can do it with Luffy and Jinbei and then, like, still have Dawn left over to do other things with, right? And so, really, really strong card. These 3 here, the big 3, I'm so happy to be playing them. And yeah, let's talk about the other cards. Usohachi, I'm so glad they printed this card. It's like a substitute Sheepshorn, right? Or like a more versatile 2K. And so he's a 3 cost 3k body with a 2k counter, but on play, if you have 8 or more Dawn, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. And so it hits a little bit lower than a Sheepshorn and it costs a little bit more, but this is a 2k. It's not a dead card in hand, and this is searchable too. And so very, very good. Yeah, and this is a perfect answer to rest those Sabo blockers, the Rebecca blockers, and just really push for game. And so, yeah, we're running that at a 4 of. We're running 3 copies of the Onami. It's a blocker. And on play, if you have 8 or more Dawn on your field, trash 1 card from your hand and draw 2 cards. And so, cards like this will help us filter out like things like Magellan late game if we don't need it. And even things like if we have like all 3 Kaidos and we know we're not going to play all of them, we just can trash 1 and dig in deeper for cards that are actually relevant. And so, yeah, we're running that at a 3 of. And again, it can be played off of Luffy Taro, just like all the rest of our cards. 4 copies of the Furnosuke from OP8.5. Just a really good 2K. You almost never play him out for Rush, but if you do and you need it, then 1 extra attack is there as an option. And then 3 copies of the Jinbei. He's a 5 cost 6k body. This is from the OP8.5 set as well. He has 1k counter, but he's a blocker, and if your board has 10 Dawn, this character gains 1000 power. So he's a 5/7 if you have 10 Dawn, which does matter at times, right? And so, yeah, and again, he can be cheated out by this Luffy, which is kind of the primary reason why we do play him. Obviously, we're playing the Sanji 2K as well. This is one of the best 2Ks that Purple has. It's a 6 cost 6k body with 2k counter. But whenever your opponent has 2 or more, or whenever you have 2 or more fewer Dawn than your opponent, this character costs 3 less. And so after we play things like a Kaido and maybe we Dawn minus like earlier for Luffy Taro, it doesn't matter. Like whenever you Dawn minus now too much, this Sanji becomes such a viable blocker, right? Because you're playing a 3-cost 6k body on the board that can block and attack, right? And so, very, very strong, very versatile card. Lastly, the events. Of course, we're running 2 copies of Gum Gum Jet Gatling. With this many dead cards in hand, we need some way to stay defensive. I may end up trying to raise this number up in the future, but for now, we're running 2. And we're running 2 copies of When You're at Sea, You Fight Pirates. It's just look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal 1 Straw Hat, Kid Pirates, or Heart Pirates type card, add it to your hand, then place the rest in the bottom of the deck in any order. And this trigger is activate this card's main effect. And so this searches out all of our Straw Hats, plus the addition of the 3 laws. And so it has quite a few targets, and just another way to kind of dig deeper into our deck. And so with that being said, let's go into some gameplay. But again, this deck list may change in the future, but for now, I'm really enjoying it. And so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, let's get into some gameplay. Alright, Purple Luffy is back. I mean, I've always been on him since basically middle of set 8, but it's good to play him with the new starter cards. We'll see how this deck fares into the meta. My current iteration is running a very similar package to, or I guess not, it's like a hybrid package of Straw Hats and some of the previous cards that I was running, and so we'll see how it fares. Take a life, Zorojuro. Guess I search myself, and then pass. I mean, I'll never complain about a 4/6. Here we'll trash the Nami. When you're at sea, you fight pirates. I'll go 7 first. Just gonna rest my Luffy. Takes, perfect. We will strip some cards out. Nice, 0 cost event and another baby 5. We'll say pass. We will block with Fernosuke, or rather counter. Alright, we're just gonna swing. We're gonna play this into this. Let's say pass. So they're 8 Dawn, meaning they're gonna start dropping some of their top end soon, which is annoying for this deck a little bit. Wow, swinging got a ton into that law. He can't even restand now. I think that's clearly a mistake then. Alright, let's see, pass turn. We have another law coming in. Even if he Dofi's here. Oh, Rosinante. We will choose to save it. I'm just gonna swing 11 into this thing. No, we're gonna go 12. We'll make sure it dies. Always thinking about saving it. We'll swing one more time. We're just gonna take a life. Then we're gonna use this. We'll stay healthy. Yeah, so far this I think that was a misplay, the turn. I know the Bonnie wanted to clear the board really badly, but definitely should have left up 1 for at least being able to rest one of my bodies think that was a clear mistake or just a not efficient play. We will give up the bone clay. All right, so let's see. My brain is not functioning today, guys. Oh, okay, he just quit. I don't think he could have done anything with the hand that he had either at this point. I just tempo too much. In his last life not being a counter too. But yeah, let's go on to the next game. Alright, so we're up against a Marco. I'm pretty interested to see the new power-ups for this deck as well. We're going to pass turn. Not a great opening hand, honestly. But we will try to get by. Do I take... We will choose to ramp here, even though it's not the most efficient. We'll play a blocker and say pass. I do like the Magellan still. It's going to help in this matchup as well. Just being able to keep Marco from hitting the higher Dawn counts as long as possible. We will trash into Sohachi. Dofi blocker? Oh no, Sanji's peel off. Okay. Oh, cool. So we're going to back-to-back Magellan here. Say pass. We'll take that one. Plays Marco. We will Magellan again. We'll swing 6. We'll swing 7. We'll say pass. He's thinking. So he's at 6 Dawn. I wonder if he's going to go for the Magellan. I doubt it. We'll take this one. Ooh, another Magellan. We will counter this one for sure. Another Sanji's peel off. Oh, this time it's a Dofi blocker. 8 Dawn. I'm gonna swing 7. We'll swing. Actually, should have swung 6, 7, 7, but it's okay. Go 7 one more time. 0 cost event. Very nice. Oh, he had the gravity blades. That's nice. I will counter. And I will also counter here. We'll swing 6. Do I greed it, fam? No. We don't greed it. Say pass. I guess he technically could Dawn up and kill me here, but I don't think he'll do that. Probably kill Sanguro. Unless he goes, oh, he's going for Sanguro. Ooh. We'll counter. This might be GG. Just to be safe. Hey, let's go. Well, there you have it. Got some purple Luffy matches. Overall thoughts about the deck. I'm still getting used to it. I don't think I'm there yet. And again, this is just the first iteration, so I do plan on mating this deck, and so there may be updates to different tech choices and just some changes to the deck, but I kind of wanted to share with you guys my first take on it without having the chance to do like a bunch of fine-tuning yet. But yeah, thanks for watching. Adakai TCG out.